So I'm going to basically try to go through some of the things we tried that were really successful, some of the things we tried and epic fails, and a lot of the things that we're kind of going through right now. And I'm going to use just the chest group as my microcosm. As I was preparing for this talk, I figured, let's let the AI bots tell us what to do. So you will see a lot of pictures in here. Almost all of these pictures are generated by AI. So this will scare the hell out of you. But that's okay. I also asked Gemini, which I'm a Google file, so I like Google a lot. I pay for the extra Google stuff. I pay for the extra LLM because I'm stupid. But that's okay. It told me that I should try to foster a sense of community for my remote radiologist, encourage social interactions. Wow, sounds like a prior talk. Involve leaders in the process, utilize technology effectively, which is my entire job in life, and address the individual needs of the remote radiologists. This is now, keeping in mind, I started this 7 years ago. So let's see how I did. I kid you not, all of this is going to be retrospective. So obviously we all have tumor boards. So tumor boards turn out to be incredibly important. They are an opportunity for us to see cases, to engage people at different locations. All of our tumor boards, unlike the pre-COVID, are now remote. I'm sure you guys all do them remote as well. I hope you guys have come back to on-site, but we do not have on-site tumor boards at all. We used to have breakfast. We used to have great interactions with our colleagues. Now we do everything virtually. But that gives us the opportunity for us to have our remote people logging in. Now, thoracic tumor board is, of course, at 7 in the morning on Fridays. So for our people in California, of course, they get up at 4 in the morning, right? Yeah, no, they don't. It's not an opportunity for them to really join. We do have more than one thoracic tumor board. There's one at noon on Thursdays for one of our outlying hospitals, which they can join in, but they often don't do that. So that's one of the negatives of having a tumor board that's multidisciplinary, that is at a super early hour, especially for our remote people. Our people on the East Coast will often join in, and it gives them an opportunity to kind of hear what's going on, keep up on the latest trends, understand some of the key aspects of what's going on now. One of the things that has been successful is our Interesting Case Conference. This is a case conference that is run by our residents, but it gives us an opportunity to show cases that we don't know what they are. We're showing things that are like, wow, this came in yesterday. Anybody have an idea? So I'll give you a quick example. On Wednesday, we had an Interesting Case Conference, and in came a periaortic mass that came up from below the diaphragm in a patient with colorectal carcinoma that then just eroded right up through along the aorta. And I hadn't seen one of those before, and it was periaortic metastasis. So great case. There were 15 attendings on the line, on the tumor board, and only one person had ever seen that before. So that gives us all an opportunity to see this. It's great. The residents run it. We have it when we think is convenient, which is like 11, 12 in the morning, so that everybody has an opportunity to join. Now, that's successful. I have 15 out of my 25 radiologists joining in. Again, that's a AI-generated image. Scary, scary, scary. Yet another AI-generated image. Peer learning. Peer learning actually works. So everybody shows up for this. We have now 22 chest radiologists who work in our system. Nobody misses this conference because we're all afraid of hurting people. Everybody wants to learn. These are the cases that we've missed, or occasionally great cases. We do it as a peer learning, non-punitive system. I start off these conferences every single time saying, we're not here to judge. Anybody misses one of these things, any of us can miss these things. Really important to have that kind of sense of, we're trying to learn here, trying to do better. We're trying to engage everybody. This worked really well. Everybody shows up to this. So I encourage you to have these conferences at sectional levels, obviously. The other thing that works is CME events like this. ARRS is a great one. RSNA, for us, STR is a big one. But also we at NYU have our own CME courses. They've kind of stopped since COVID, and we're restarting them up this year. But that's a great opportunity for us to meet with our colleagues, both inside our divisions as well as outside our divisions. The next conference we're having is going to be, I don't even know where. I think we want to go back to Hawaii. But the nice thing is the conference fee for anyone in radiology is free. So find ways that your leadership can say, hey, we want you to come to this stuff. We'll give you the time to go to it, and then really have great locations so they can go and have fun. Parties. We just heard it a second ago. These are not AI-generated images. These are real images. Graduation parties. Invite everybody. They're part of the team, right? So if I have a remote person who's reading chest CTs, they are allowing me that time to teach the residents, right? So they're helping us out. They're part of the team. when we go on conferences, when we have these interesting case conferences, when we spend time teaching them, all of these things help me be able to train these residents, which I couldn't possibly do if I didn't have these guys as well. And our remote people, the chest specific remote is going to be 8 total individuals. Game nights, trivia nights, those kind of things all help with the camaraderie. Nobody shows up to game nights that is remote. Nobody shows up to trivia nights that's remote. But they show up to departmental parties. We buy out the Hilton or the place on the 59th Street Bridge, and people show up to this. This is the whole place is purple for NYU. Okay, I'm cognizant of my time, but a couple other important aspects. Teaching responsibilities are removed from our remote people. We do not allow remote training of radiologists, period, end. So our house staff is only trained by on-site. That's important because it does kind of isolate the radiologists a little bit. However, it has been successful for our residents, so I call that a success. So we did pull those two responsibilities out. I know a lot of places have remote teaching as well. It's just something that we haven't done, and we are maintaining this. The stuff at the bottom is our teaching file cases. We have live teaching file cases that are assigned to the residents every single day. Call. Now, this is something that we tried. Notice how I took away the success. This is one of those things that's kind of in between right this second. We right now have call that is separated out between the 22 people in the chess group. However, people argue, whose responsibility is it to read these cases? During the week, they wouldn't necessarily see those inpatients or ED cases. So they kind of feel like they're doing our work. And we kind of feel like we're doing their work during the week. So call has kind of become this little consternation thing. So we're kind of working through it. It's just one of those things that really clear definitions of what your roles and responsibilities are. The other thing that, notice now I have a person failing with a ski board. That's not me. Having different goals, again, the AI generated, having different goals and roles in the same division is problematic. So when the remote group first started, they were all under my auspice. And the problem is, I had a group of people who were responsible for one thing, outpatients predominantly, and another group that was responsible for ED, inpatients, and everything else. And what ended up happening was all this infighting between the two groups. So they basically were sitting there saying, hey, well, this is not my responsibility, it's your responsibility. And I don't like the fact that they're getting these cases and I'm not getting those cases. I want to read the outpatients. They're easier to read than the inpatients. And everybody went back and forth. So it was really kind of a tough group. We did try to keep the group together for a couple of years. And then eventually we tried something different. And we're not quite sure how this is going to work out, but we created a completely separate remote section. Hear me out a little bit. And I promise I'll stop quick. Having a separate remote group and a remote leader allows you to have a person who is got the interest and the responsibilities of the remote group in their head and nothing else. So they're actually really focused on, they need to have time to do X. They need to have great connectivity. They need to have the ability to interact with others, have quick communication with other people, really more focused on what their needs are, as opposed to me, who was a main campus person and a proceduralist, who had my areas of interest who had my focus on other things. I'm going to stop here for 1 second. I did have to skip a couple slides. IT is critical. If you have remote people, you want somebody to quit, go down. You want somebody to be unhappy, have your systems be slow. You want to have somebody who's really going to come and find my house and start throwing eggs at it, have connections that don't work correctly. You need to have both on-site hardware and software that's capable of actually making the experience as similar to on-site as possible. And we have all of those systems. It took a lot of work to get all of them. It took years of work to get them, but we do have that and have redundancy. That's a critically important aspect of it. So in conclusion, really engagement is important. I think we did a pretty good job of what the AI bot told me to do. We've gotten leadership involved. We've got a lot of opportunities for them to be involved in different meetings, opportunities to engage with other people. And then the technology part of it, I think we also did a pretty good job on. Are we perfect? By no stretch of the imagination. Is everything going to change again in the next 6 months? Absolutely. But at least right now, this is where we are.